Well, I'm sitting here today in the Black Line offices here in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Normally, we travel and we're out on site, but I got a message the other day from this guy on the interwebs, and I'm sitting here with Mike Williams of H&H, the H&H Group in Lancaster, Pennsylvania here. And you were wanting to talk about some podcasts, and I was like, well, let's talk about some podcasts on a podcast.
Meta podcast.
Yeah. And so, welcome, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up to the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we like real and honest conversation. So hopefully you knew that coming into it. If not, I know that you reached out to my assistant and asked for some information, and we didn't give you any because we like to catch you off guard. So, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about H&H Group. Just give those who are listening a little bit of an insight to who you are.
Sure. So my name is Mike Williams. I am the CEO of the H&H Group as of 2022. The H&H Group has 50 years in Lancaster. It has been a printing and signs company for many of those years, apparel, graphics. I like to break it down maybe a little bit differently than our capabilities. I like to talk about kind of the three main customer types that we interact with. So one of our customer types, we actually produce their product. We're part of their manufacturing chain.
Okay.
So think publishers, where we are producing the books that they sell to their customers. People like apparel, we are making the apparel that those companies are selling to their customers.
Okay.
Or even sometimes their own employees. So we have those people that were part of their manufacturing chain. Then we have another group of people, and it's probably our largest group, where we are supporting marketing folks. So they're marketers, they have ideas, they say, hey, we want to mail a postcard, but they don't have a printing press. They don't have a way to cut that card out. They don't have a way to process it through the post office at a discount, right? So we help marketers really execute their processes, their dreams, what they're thinking. We help marketers execute that. We do that through print. We do that through signs. And when I say print, I mean something as simple as a business card, to catalogs, books, brochures, sales flyers, rack cards, all the things that people print when they're marketing, direct mail, those sorts of things. And then we have all the signs, which is actually really popular right now, that folks can get signs for their own business.
Okay.
Relatively inexpensively. Before, signs were handmade. They were hand painted. Right now we have digital equipment where you can put up a new sign on your building, every 4 or 5 years if you wanted to.
Wow.
Right. So it makes it an exciting part of the business. The marketers want to talk about signs more than they want to talk about print. Is our experience. So we have the folks that we manufacture for, those marketing teams, and then during COVID, we've really reached into and embraced the audience of people who are concerned about compliance. So there are businesses that need signage or print that help them comply, either with the law or just help other folks comply. Think of a hospital, right? All that wayfinding signage to get you to the emergency room.
Right.
All the signs in multiple languages that tell you what your rights are as a patient. During COVID, the spots on the floor.
I was just thinking of that. I remember when we were doing the 6-foot thing.
We made so many of those labels that went on the floor and had to meet ANSI standards and all that stuff. So, and then in addition, there's the Braille signs, the ones with the little knobs that say this is room 302 or emergency exit only. All those Braille signs, we make those as well. So like folks that are erecting buildings will come to us and go, hey, we need these 300 rooms identified so that we can get occupancy.
Right.
And we will help make those signs. Now, usually those signs are, if we're making them, are more matching the aesthetic, right? We're working with the interior designer, we're working with the company, right? If you just want a regular old blue sign,
Right.
you can go to Home Depot and get that,
Right.
right? But if you want something that matches the actual aesthetic of your building and the feeling that you're trying to create, that's when working for us with those signs makes sense.
Well, I love that. I mean, I'm a big brand guy. I think that aligning with your brand and having a cohesive communication about your brand is a big deal. And I think there's a balance with how you do it. Like you can go overboard. If I had a Hawaiian shirt with the Black Line logo all over it, that might be a little overboard. But I think that having cohesive branding like that, especially when it's like subtle but classic, so like when you talk about a sign like that, that's totally something that I would do, where I'd be like, well, we're going to have these signs, but I want it to have our logo or our color scheme or whatever.
Right, this multi-layered thing rather than just a black plastic piece, which will meet the letter of the law, right?
Yeah.
And you can get occupancy with that. But if you want folks to even just subtly go, I'm in a higher end place.
Yeah. So I think that I have been a client of yours and didn't even realize it, because we have a box. Blackline has a box at the local baseball stadium.
Okay.
And our name is up on the wall with this sign. And I think the stadium went ahead and hired someone to do it. And if I recall, you guys do those signs, don't you?
It depends on the year that it was done.
Okay.
So with the ball team in Lancaster, it's usually you are awarded a contract. We had that contract for many years. We currently don't have that contract. We haven't had it for like 2 years. So
then it would have been you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very likely we were the ones that came in and helped with that.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. So signage is your thing. Like now tell me a little bit about so H&H Group, when you guys were founded and started, were you more in the printing side of things? And when I say printing, I mean on paper.
Sure. So we were founded in 1973 by Phil and Cam Hupenbecker. That's where the H and the H come from. Hupenbecker and Hupenbecker.
Okay. When you say it that way, it sounds like a law firm.
Right? Which is why it was H&H.
Yeah.
So they started as a quick printer. They were a franchise. So they were part of the Sir Speedy franchise, which is Franchise Services International owns the rights to do Sir Speedy, pip printing. For a while, they did multi-copy, and they owned KOA campgrounds.
Okay.
So it got started because KOA in the 60s was seeing less traffic because everyone was going to the beach because of the beach movies. And so they stopped camping and going to the beach, and the campground went, oh my, we're so heavily invested in this, we have to diversify. So they started this Sir Speedy. Phil and Cam answered the ad. They started this company, and it really started out as you would come, they would mock up your sheet, they would put that on a small offset press, and they would print your job while you waited.
Wow.
Right? I mean, it was very quick printing. It was also horrible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That quick printing doesn't produce the best quality stuff, but people really liked it, so we have had a following. We got up to 4 locations at one point. Just being, I think we were in Harrisburg, we were in Berwick, here in Lancaster, and there was one other location where it had already closed by the time I started, so I don't know. And then in the 2000s, they combined those all down into the one operation that we are in the early 2000s right here in Lancaster.
Okay.
Yeah, so it started with Phil and Cam as a quick printer, all pretty offset. They were the first company. I'm going to gear term, sorry.
Yeah.
They were the first company on the East Coast to get the Heidelberg Speedmaster DI, which was a direct image press.
I was going to say, you got to tell me what that was, because
So I was working at Strine Printing, which now doesn't even exist. It was bought by Menasha over in York. And Strine Printing had, dozens of 40-inch presses, big presses. And I remember there was a scuttlebutt when this Heidelberg DI came into the area and they weren't the ones to get it. I mean, there was like fear in the tone, and it turned out it was this tiny little press that didn't even perform well. It would allow you to avoid the plate making part of the of the thing. You could just send the image to the press. It would image it would put the image on the plates itself, and you could go right to printing. So it worked, but again, it wasn't super high quality. Heidelberg eventually abandoned that whole concept, but at the time it was leading edge technology, and it was right here in Lancaster at a quick printer.
Yeah. Wow. I think that, you know, what you talk about there, and you talk about the fear, I want to get into this a little bit later with you, because I think that your industry in particular has dealt with some things that the rest of us in the world are having to deal with. And you've kind of already been down this road, because about 20 years ago, or even more than 20 years ago when I started, one of the big things that I would do is I would do electrical work and hook up these printing presses that wouldn't even fit in this room.
Right?
Like
They're
they were
huge.
gigantic. And you can't really find them anymore. And you guys have been through technological advancements. And I think that every time, and let's just be real about what technology is. A hammer is technology. The wheel is technology. And so, but as technological advancements have come, people can really be confronted with fear, because we end up having to face things that we don't know. Like, you know, you get used to operating a printing press and doing this in order for this return, and some technology changes, which makes it different. And then you have to pivot. And the thing that I've noticed about your story at H&H Group is, and your story is very similar actually, is that H&H Group, it seems that you guys have continued to pivot with technology over the years.
You have to, or as a printing company, you will no longer be a business.
Yeah.
I mean, I am buying a new printing press every 5 or 6 years, because the technology changes that much that after 5 years, I now have that old thing that can't produce the quality that the new things can. Yeah. And if anyone else has the new thing, why on earth would they come to me?
Yeah.
Right. So it is, and it's been that way forever in the printing industry. The technology just keeps changing and changing, and the quality keeps getting better and better, that you have to, it is a heavy capital investment business.
Yeah.
We constantly have leases and loans out for new equipment, and that's a major part of our expenses.
Yeah.
It is just keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah. Except more in the way of being able to provide, like I would, when I grew up, that was more of a negative term, keeping up with the Joneses.
Right, it is, yeah.
But you mean more in the sense of keeping up with the newest products for your clients to be able to provide. Because like the things that you can do today, and you even talked about that, the ability that you have to produce things at a much more, what's the word that I'm looking, affordable price. Like you talked about with signage, you're able to create things. Talk to me a little bit about how has that, so you've gone from starting in the warehouse.
Sure.
To being the CEO. And so that's quite a story, going from warehouse to CEO. And I would say that in your business, the skilled trades are very much a part of your business.
Almost every position in our business is a skilled worker.
Yeah. And so with that regard, how do you fight the fear of those things within your business? Because like when you have skilled workers like that, like I've been dealing with having conversations in our organizations about AI. And listen, I'm an old school guy. I was born old, and I like, I have a briefcase, and I love it because it doesn't have zippers, because that would be too newfangled for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it has buckles, not
Buckle
zippers.
guy.
But that's, I write things down in a notebook. I always am writing things down. Doesn't mean I don't have an iPad. It doesn't mean I don't have a phone. But how do you deal with that fear? Because anytime there's something new, it's like people are like, no, I don't want to do that. No, at least that's been my experience. Maybe you don't have that. But how do you as a CEO now deal with that in your industry that is changing so rapidly? Like you just said, you need to buy a new press, and it's like, well, doesn't then someone need to learn how to operate that? Like you're constantly dealing with that. How are you dealing with that?
So that is such an interesting question, because it's almost a binomial response.
Whoa. I'm an electrician. What the heck is binomial?
So there are two distinct answers that are both true to that that question.
It's using $4 words, man.
So I have a workforce that is honed, skilled, selected because they don't want to make mistakes. So we do personality testing.
Come on.
Before hiring to ensure that the people that we are hiring, it would be awful for them to make a mistake. Like, I am not that person. I can make mistakes all day long, and I am just fine with it.
Yeah.
But I have employees that when they make a mistake, they will be on the verge of tears, or they will be actually crying because it is abhorrent to them to make a mistake, which makes them awesome at their job.
Yeah.
It also makes them change resistant because if you don't know how to do something, you are more likely to make a mistake. And so if you get something new, if there is a new process, if you ask me to do it a new way, until I fully have bought in and understand how that is, I'm going to resist it because I could make a mistake, and I don't want to make mistakes, right? Not me, obviously, not me, but speaking for my employees.
Yeah.
Right. So they have a natural resistance to large changes because they just don't know what that's going to mean. So how are you going to grade me? How am I going to know I'm doing the right job if you keep changing things?
Yeah.
Right. So there's that inclination, but our business is one of technology keeps changing.
Yeah.
And so it's a binomial response. People don't like change to our business, but people actually are excited about new equipment and the new things that equipment can offer them to do. For example, white ink has been, can I curse on your podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. White ink has been a pain in the ass for years.
Oh, you can do better than that.
I don't want to do better than that. Man. But white ink has been a trouble in our industry for years. It actually goes bad very quickly.
Yeah, I know.
You have to shake white ink almost 24 hours a day for it not to have all the pigment settle. And it's only been in the last couple of years that you can get machines that really handle that well. But we need it.
Yeah.
We have needed it for years. And so we've figured out other ways to do it that aren't wonderful. So when you get a new machine that can now handle the white ink, the operator who now may have some of that tendency to go, I don't know, it's new, actually goes, wow, that's going to benefit me so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose so much frustration that I had before that I am willing to go through that tension of I got a new machine.
There it is.
So the new technology is actually embraced in our industry now. I don't know that I could change like my folder without hearing some complaints or right, because that technology has been the same since the 50s.
Right.
Why change it? Even though there are machines that do it totally differently now, our team would probably go, I don't know that totally different is better.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the way we're doing it?
But don't you think? So I often find with a team, and I'm very honored to be a part of a team that really cares, and I think that you are as well.
Yes.
And so when you are part of a team like that, you can grow together, and you want to be in that learning and growing mindset. But I think when you're in the leadership role and you're managing the team in that way, honoring them and being cautious with how quickly you pivot is the thing for me. Like we've had to learn some new technologies, and there's some things that, like, our industry doesn't change as fast as yours, but I actually think everything changes. And I guess my question would be, how do you continue to make the changes and do the things while still maintaining and hanging on to that origin? So like the reason that I have a briefcase that doesn't have zippers and it has buckles is because it's handmade the way that they made it 100 years ago, and they say it will last 100 years. And there's something to the men and women that make that and put it together in that way of doing it. Like, I don't mind paying more money for certain things like that. But then there are other things where it's like they wouldn't even exist, like this coffee mug here that is made out of this double insulated steel that it doesn't burn my hand. They wouldn't even exist. And unlike the ceramic coffee mug that you used to have out on a job site, if this falls off a dozer or something like that, it's going to disintegrate. Now, granted, it might get crushed. But my point being, so with your teams, I'm curious. So you have a team that they get that. I hear that you are talking with them about this is going to help you do your job better. Is that the trigger of technology change?
It's early communication.
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. So, for example, my father-in-law is in this group. But he's in this group to the extreme. He will make a spreadsheet when he is going to buy a new toaster, because he will list 5 or 6 toasters and have a rubric of their features, and he will make sure after 3 to 4 weeks of careful study that he is buying the right toaster, right? Whereas I go to a store and I buy a toaster.
Because you and I are cut from the same cloth there.
Because they're $30. What's the difference? It makes toast.
I just open a bank account and I get a free toaster. So.
Right. So, but if I want to communicate something to my father-in-law, like something is going to change, I have to start that conversation the moment I know something is going to change. I can't wait until the day before and go, hey, can you do this? Yeah. Because he's going to freak out. It's going to cause him enormous stress. It's the same with my employees. As soon as I know we're going to have to make some level of pivot, some level of change, if technology is going to change, we start that conversation. Maybe it's just...
Do you start it in little bites?
In little bites. You come along in the morning and you go, hey, what do you think about, what if there was a machine that could do this, right? And they go, hey, that would be really nice. I could do this or this with it. I'm like, yeah. And then you just go away, right? Yeah. And then you have another conversation later. Hey, I have someone that has something. I'd like you to take a look at it and let me know what you think, right? And you start building those conversations. Whereas my natural inclination is to go, hey, there's this new press. It's really great. Let's buy it now.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone goes, whoa, wait. And appropriately, right? Because I could make rash, bad decisions by operating that quickly. Whereas I think that the process of the folks that need more time with a decision help balance I could change everything every day and be happy.
Oh, that's me too. I think guys like you and I need teams of people to help. Otherwise, like, the company wouldn't exist because of the way that we would do that. Like, I remember reading about Walt Disney, and his brother worked with him at Disney. And he said that their organization wouldn't exist had his brother not been on the team, because he would have been like, well, let's do this. And he would have missed the focus of what it is that they were trying to, like, the things that they needed to maintain, the things that they needed to do, because he would have been moving to every new thing.
Right.
And so I think that that's the importance of, you need people that are willing to drive change. But you also need people that are willing to communicate honestly, so that you can come. I don't think that individuals come up with the best decisions. I actually really truly believe that teamwork is this, like, unstoppable force in business.
Agreed.
And when you bring that together, it is something that You can break through barriers. You can break through walls. You can solve problems that
Preach.
and I mean, I really believe that. I just, a few weeks ago was in a meeting and there was an issue, and I'm talking with the team, and one of the team members brought up something that triggered a thought in my mind. And then I said something that was the solution, and the whole team was like, wow, you came up with the solution. And I'm like, no, actually I didn't, because I've been thinking about this for days, but I didn't have an idea until we were engaged together communicating about it. And I think that happens for multiple people. Like, we don't realize the catalyst that teamwork does and what it is, and the importance of having that communication. I mean, and in your role, I think, and I can relate to this because I sound a lot like you. I mean, as far as, let's try this new thing. Let's try that. But when you bring it to the team, it's a good litmus test for, okay, this might be a good idea, but it maybe isn't a today thing. Maybe
Right.
it's a tomorrow thing. Maybe it's but you need to be a leader. If you're leading an organization, or if you want to lead an organization, the only way to really do it effectively, I think, is to do it with a team of people.
I agree.
I mean, the reality is, and I'm not meaning to talk so much here, but I've seen organizations that are highly successful with an individual, and they have a group of people that works with that individual, but that's just it. Let me rephrase that. That you have a group of people that works for that individual.
Difference.
Yeah. As opposed to works with them. And there are some organizations that's how it works. I don't want to be a part of that organization. And most of the people that are on our team here wouldn't want to be a part of that organization because they want to have input. And honestly, if you're that person, why? It's so stressful. Like, why would you, like, when there is a team of people. All right, I'm just going to give you a freebie here for business. Things go wrong. If they don't go wrong, you haven't been in business long enough. There are problems. There are issues. Like, I mean, you just talked about COVID. I can imagine that you had problems and issues that you had to deal with. And when we went through that, I shouldn't say it this way. I was in a room with a group of people, and we're trying to problem solve. Well, what is the law? What are we supposed to do? How do we protect our people? Because nobody knew the answers.
Nobody.
Even the experts in the room that were on nobody knew what they were talking about.
We were wiping down groceries with Clorox wipes. Come on.
That's things I don't want to remember. So the point being, when you have a team of people, you can actually problem solve. You can carry the weight together, which means you can carry more.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the businesses that have that one charismatic leader that people work for and are successful, that is a very smart person. I'm not that smart.
Me neither.
I can't run the business I run by myself.
Yeah.
Right? I would make stupid decisions. I would make rash choices, and people would get hurt, and I'd probably be happy and delighted and clueless, but the business would be falling around behind me.
Yeah.
Having a group of leaders, having a group of employees that are willing to speak their mind, and then consequently my willingness to hear it, right, makes all the difference for our company, right?
Honestly, that's what a leader, I believe, needs to be, is have a willingness to hear. What's the old phrase that you heard in Sunday school?
You have 2 ears and one mouth.
Exactly.
Use them in that proportion.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And the reality is, that's the truth. And the importance. I heard a guy say years ago. I listened to a podcast, and he goes, when I have a decision or something like that, I take 48 hours and just wait. Oh. And I thought it was genius because it's like. And he said, a couple of things happen. One, the problem either works itself out and I don't even need to do anything about it. Two, my mind is at a totally different place, 48 hours. Now, listen, if you walk into your warehouse and the printing press is on fire, I don't recommend that you wait 48 hours to deal with it. But the knowing how to triage something and how to look at it and know when it's a fire and when it's something that can wait. And I would argue that things can wait. We are in a culture and a society where we have lost the art of waiting.
I would agree.
Yeah, we feel like, here's the deal. You get a text, you hear your phone buzz, you do not have to look at it in the first 3 seconds. You could, but seriously, and it's a little exercise that I like to do. It's like I actually make myself wait a minute or two before, and I won't look at it if I'm in a meeting with you. But all that to say, so tell me a little bit about.
Hold on,
I love this. He's telling me what to do.
I would love to say
yes, please.
That fighting fires is fun and has its own level of satisfaction.
Come on.
That is a trap for a leader.
Ooh, okay, you got to drill down on that.
Right? I can be the hero.
Ooh, here it is.
At work.
Here it is.
But that's not my job
Yeah.
to be fighting those fires, right? I'm stealing that from other employees, right, who have probably better ways to fight the fire than me coming in and fighting a fire, right?
Yeah.
But I like fighting fires, so I want to do it, right? There's a ego stroke that happens. I saved this,
Yeah.
as opposed to my employees did a good job and didn't create this mess, right? Rather than I could steal the glory rather than allow them to have the glory, right?
Yeah.
By just stepping back and going, how would you handle this?
Yeah.
Can you make that happen?
Absolutely.
What help do you need to make that happen?
Absolutely.
As opposed to me coming up with the solution. I had a professor in college, Dr. David Greisler, who said, if you fix people's problems, they will always bring you their problems.
Come on.
Right?
Come on. So that's interesting. That reminds me of, I had a mentor once. My business was growing, and I used to come into the office at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't anymore. I know everyone knows that. And he actually gave me a piece of advice, and I was like, well, he goes, I think maybe you need to cut back when you go into the office. And he said, not your work. Like, he goes, you can work from home. And this is before remote work was a thing. And I said to him, yeah, but the guy started at 7. And he was saying to me, he goes, I think you shouldn't go until 8. And it was like, it was catastrophic to me. I was like, I couldn't even wrap my head around it. And I said, well, the guys come in at 7. And he said, here's the deal. He goes, if you are always there when they are there, they will always ask you. And so one day I worked up the courage to be able to.
I thought you were going to say chutzpah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say stones, but I wanted to kind of clean it up. I was going to, maybe I was going to say balls, but I'm not going to say that. But I was going to say I worked up the chutzpah. There you go. You like that? To be able to not go into 8 o'clock. And the crazy thing that happened was they actually were able to function better without me.
Mm.
And the other thing was what you just said was they started to problem solve and figure things out. Like if I was there, they'd be like, hey, I just want to run this by you. Hey, I just want to talk with you about this. And it's like, and that's okay. But back to your hero complex. Listen, I want to build teams, not because I don't like work. I actually love work. But I want to build teams that eventually don't need me.
Right.
That's what I would, because, and this is really important for those of you out there in the industries, training people up to do your job only frees you to be able to do what's next for you. Like, and this is a great segue. You're the CEO of the H&H Group. You started in the warehouse, if I'm correct.
That is correct.
Yeah. And that process of going from the warehouse to CEO, what did that look like?
So I started in the warehouse. When I started at the warehouse, they were doing the absolute best job they could, but it was fairly inefficient.
Yeah.
And I had previous training in another job. I could see some of those inefficiencies. I asked, can I start working on this? And I got a lot of pushback of, well, we don't need that. That's going to take too long to implement. That's not going to work. That's silly. But I was allowed to do it. And so I started implementing these changes, and I immediately changed the whole functionality of our warehouse. We went from we needed 7 people to do the job to where we didn't.
Oh, come on.
No, we didn't fire anybody,
Right.
thankfully.
But that goes to what we're saying. You provided an opportunity to figure out what's next for them.
That's right. So significantly changed the warehouse. That got noticed.
Yeah.
So I was
I'm
asked.
thinking that would get noticed. Yeah.
So I was asked to come over to our production facility and start working as the director of operations because
Okay.
they wanted those same kinds of changes
Come on.
brought to that. Now, I would say I made a mistake in this area of my life because I was not where I am now, and I didn't realize that the employees needed communicated to and needed time to work through things, and really what it boiled down to is they wanted their impact heard.
Yeah.
They wanted their opinion valued. And I was just problem solving and fixing the world and setting it on fire. And I was really
you were setting it on fire.
I was just
all right.
setting it on, I was just setting it on fire. So a lot of the things I tried to do in that particular area weren't super successful, right? That was a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
That I wanted to implement lean into our printing facility, which is difficult but not impossible.
Yeah.
But it was impossible the way I was trying.
Boy.
Right? And
Yeah.
and that actually had long-lasting significant damages because we already tried that and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? It was the feedback. I mean, literally those words were said, we tried that, didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't try it right because I was stupid.
Yeah.
Is the answer, but their mindset is set against it, right?
Yeah.
So we have had to approach that from different angles in the future. So I was the director of operations. That was going well. I had a really good relationship with one of our largest customers, and their salesperson left. And the owner of the business came to me and she said, I need you to be their salesperson. And I was like, no. I want nothing to do with being a salesperson, right? In my mind, salesperson were slimy, oily. They would do anything to get the sale, right? That was
Sounds a lot like marketing companies, actually.
that was my mindset of what a salesperson was because I didn't understand. I was just going by kind of how I felt about salespeople.
Yeah.
And so I fought it, but in the end, she was the owner and she won. And
Owners have a way of doing that.
yeah, so I got to be the salesperson, and I loved the relationship, but I had kind of vowed
Yeah.
that I wouldn't treat that customer like I was a salesperson,
Yeah.
right? I still wanted to just treat them like I was the director of operations
Yeah.
and could do everything in my power to help them, which turns out to be what a really good salesperson is.
Exactly.
But all the other customers that I tried to reach out to, I was just being that stupid clown of a salesperson that everybody hates.
Yeah.
I got some sales training through Sandler, and that actually fixed that. So I'm no longer acting like a clown. But I was a salesperson for years. I became the sales manager. Somewhere in the early 2010, 2011, my mindset was I really wanted to be part of the ownership team of the company.
So I'm just gonna pause you there for a second because I want to ask you, what was in you? Why did you? Because why did you want? Where did that desire come from?
So I love printing.
Yeah.
I loved this company. I loved the people in this company, and I wanted to go more.
Yeah.
I wanted to do more. I wanted to participate in more of the business rather than just operations or sales.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be part of the company. And at the time, I thought that means being an owner.
Yeah.
And so I asked,
Yeah.
can I be an owner? Maybe part of it was pride, right? I want to be an owner. I'm not sure. That turned out to be a really silly thought, because as a minority owner, I'm not sure I would recommend anyone become a minority owner of a business.
I would not recommend anyone become an owner of a business. I am a majority owner, and you got to be a little crazy, and it is not what you think.
It is not what you think at all. And as a minority owner, you really don't have any power. You just have
You get all the
horrible
you get all the hard
taxes.
stuff.
Yeah. So I was a minority owner. I kept growing. I was on the leadership team, the executive leadership team. We call it the ELT, right? I was just part of that, growing. And then and at the time, the owner of our business, she was doing a great job.
Yeah.
Right? People loved her. She was well respected in the community.
Yeah.
She loved what she was doing. She was no longer interested in getting out of the business. She was going to stay there for 10, 15 more years.
Wow.
And I was at a spot where I really wanted to stretch my leadership skills, right? So we had a little bit of a tension for a little while because we had misaligned expectations and misaligned desires. Luckily, we worked through that. But she got sick. She found out towards 2021 that she had pancreatic cancer. Oh, wow. And at the time, we all thought it was COVID. We thought COVID was giving her ulcers because she was a business owner, right? And she was concerned, and there were times where we were all losing sleep, and she was just having stomach problems.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be pancreatic cancer, which she succumbed to in August of 2022.
Wow.
Which at that point, that's when I became the CEO.
Okay.
Right. I became from a 10% business owner to an equal partner in a business, because as she passed, she brought on her son as a business partner and our operations manager as a business partner.
So it's really interesting to me. I've been listening to you talk, and I love these podcasts because I feel like I get all this knowledge and all this wisdom from really smart people like yourself. And
I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah. Well, you're paying me to say that. I'll send you the bill.
Nice.
No, but in all honesty, that's the truth of what I believe. And I wrote down this little note as you're talking, and as I've been listening to you, if you're listening to this, he is an equal partner now. He started in a warehouse. I don't know if you heard what I heard, but there is a secret here to success in what you've been talking about.
I hoped you would ask this question.
Well, I was going to say what I think it is, but I will ask it.
No.
Because it's my podcast. I'm the owner of the podcast, so I can say what I want. But so what is that secret?
So for me, the secret is this. Don't ever expect that someone will see what you are worth or how well you're doing and offer you anything. If you want something, if you feel like you deserve something, talk about it. Ask about it. Ask for it. If there's a job you want to do it. It may not be the job you've been hired to do. Do it anyways. Show that you can have it. Talk to people, right? Get your job done early.
Come on, man.
And get training on the other thing.
Come on.
Right? It is... I have a stupid example, but it's powerful. I worked as a plate maker at Strine Printing, and I was on a weekend shift, and when there wasn't enough plates to make, I had experience in, and I wish there was a better word for it. I could call it film manipulation, but we called it stripping. So I was a stripper.
I knew that's where we were going.
But in the printing industry, it means something else. So I was stripping and plate making, and what I noticed is that the strippers who were doing it full time, they had a little metal knife not an X-Acto knife, one of those clicky ones, but it wasn't plastic. It was metal. It's made by Olfa, right? Just a ridiculous little knife, probably cost $3, right?
Yeah.
At tops.
Yeah.
And I wanted one. So I went to the supervisor and I said, hey, everyone else has these knives. Can I get one? And they're like, sure. That created a lot of tension between myself and the two other plate makers, because they were waiting for someone to notice that that they needed a knife, and I got one. And so they were like angry at me. So while I say have this attitude, there are consequences. The people that aren't on that same page will think that you're being treated special, and you're not being treated special. You're just asking for what you want. You're just right. If you ask and they say no, where you at? You're right where you are.
Exactly.
But if you ask and they say yes, you could actually get what you want.
Yeah.
Including jobs, including ownership of the company. Now, I paid a lot of dollars for that ownership in that company.
Yeah.
But for the first couple of years that I hounded the owner, the answer was no.
Yeah.
Right? She kept saying no over and over and over again. And I think she finally said yes to shut me up.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's a biblical story right there.
But it's really about not letting someone else decide what's going to happen for you and what you're going to do. It's you have a vision, you have an idea, and making it happen rather than waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something. So, no joke. The secret is that he asked. I literally wrote down, "You asked."
Yes.
So, and that is like leadership doesn't know sometimes, because there are probably 1,000 things going on in their mind that you have no idea is going on in their mind, and they're not. It's not a lack of caring or anything like that. They're not aware, and sometimes it's like, if you're not saying something, then they're not aware. Maybe they should be, but they're not. That's the reality. And you asked. I think an important thing to touch on with that is, okay, so when you ask, one, I love this statement. I heard this, it's like, no doesn't always mean no. Sometimes it means not now.
That's correct.
And so it's like, so you ask, and then there's an importance of understanding too, the reality of no. You can't be someone who, if you're going to use that secret weapon and you're going to ask, well, when the answer is no, and one of two things might happen. You're like, you know what? I understand why they said that. Or maybe it's like, okay, well, that might change, so I don't have an opportunity there. But I think it comes back to waiting. You asked, and she said no. And
for several years.
For several years. And so that's important to recognize. I believe that when you work hard and you're diligent at something and you press into it, there is always a reward. It might not look like what you expected. And that's a whole nother podcast where we can get into how your expectations can really mess you up. You start to wrap around, well, I do this and then this will happen. And especially if you're not talking or communicating about it with leadership, well, then that's an expectation that they have no idea that you have. You start to build up that expectation. I'll give you an example. I've been married for over 20 years. I've had many an anniversary. I have bought my wife things for her anniversary gift, and I have built up in my mind what the response would be. And that would be an expectation. And I have ruined more than one anniversary based on my expectation. And not always out loud, but sometimes in my own mind, because the expectation was not met. Here's the deal. It wasn't fair for me to make that expectation of her. It's not fair for you as an employee to make an expectation either. You can ask the question. And here is the reality of what I learned in this relationship with my wife. I needed to ask her questions.
What?
Because I wanted, and here's the deal. When I give someone a gift, I want it to be a blessing. I want it to be something that they need, they want, they desire. The only way to do that is to ask questions and listen to what they say. And so the secret weapon that you have uncovered here, when you guys are asking, if you're asking questions and like you did, well, then you need to listen to what they say. And that takes time.
Right.
That takes time. Because just like we were talking earlier about how you need to communicate and ease people into things, well, you're doing the same thing with an owner there that, maybe they build a business and you're asking that question and they've never even thought about giving someone else some ownership.
True. And I wasn't ready.
Yeah. Good point.
Right. So what I saw I needed to do was I needed to start acting
Come on.
like an owner
Yeah.
at every level,
Yeah.
right? Thinking about decisions that had to be made from a company standpoint and not from a my position standpoint.
Yeah.
Right? What would the company do in this situation, and start bringing those into the equation, right? Really made a big difference.
Yeah. So I just want to shift gears a little bit here. Tell me a little bit about why is it so important in my research of you and the H&H Group? It seems like community is really important to your organization.
I am glad you said community. In the past, we have used the word family.
Yeah.
And I really don't like using the word family.
I don't either.
While I love the people in this business,
Mm-hmm.
you can't fire a family when they're messing up,
Yeah.
right? In times of trouble, you can't lay off family when things are right. Using family sets people up for hurt feelings.
agree.
But a good tight-knit community, which can be as loving and as kind and as tight as a family, is a much better term. So community is huge for us. We have very low turnover.
Yeah.
You will look at most of our employees have 20, 30 years.
That's impressive.
I still feel like I'm the new guy, and I've been there 20 years.
You don't look like it.
Oh, fuck. That was for you, Deb. The idea that we would take care of one another,
Yeah.
right? It's about collaboration, right?
Yeah.
It's about working together, which is really knowing who the other person is, respecting them, understanding that they really matter, working together to achieve common goals, whether it's a single person or working with another team, right?
Come on.
Maybe I'm in the wide format team, but I need help from the bindery team, the finishing team, right? If we don't have that level of community, I can't get that help, right? Because now it's us against them,
Yeah.
as opposed to we're 38 people
Come on.
in the us
Right.
community, and we're trying to avoid the them communities. So taking care of folks is a way to not only value them and respect them and treat them, but it's also a way to keep them, right? Hiring is tough. I mean, you have a podcast, you work in skilled trades, right? Now, well, we're not technically considered a skilled trade like most of the construction are. It is definitely a skill, right?
Yes.
It is not someone you are bringing off the street who has never done it, and you are going through just putting them on the job, right? They have to go through a training program,
Absolutely.
and we try to hire folks that have done that training program with somebody else, right? So that they can come in and we can just show them the intricacies. So it is still very skilled. Even our customer service folks, they have to know how books are printed at every level to be able to be a customer service rep for us. So even that is a skilled trade for us. Our warehouse workers have to know how things are made so that they can package them correctly and those sorts of things. So it's all pretty skilled. It is hard to find those people. So treating people with value and respect and humility and kindness
Come on.
really helps maintain a place where it's not perfect, but where people want to come to work.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you said kindness. Boy, I don't want to get into my garbage, but I hate the word nice. And here's why. I don't ever want to be considered.
I was going to say, tell me more.
This clip, if someone is going to clip this and make some sort of bad thing for me here, but I don't want to be known as being nice to people. I want to be known as being kind to people. And this is why I say that. Being nice is different than being kind. I believe that when you're kind to someone, that you tell them things that might hurt them.
I would agree.
I think that when we're nice to people, that's actually a way of telling people that you don't really care, because you're nice so that you don't have to have that conversation. And I've learned this, from being on the job. I would have a project manager on a job that I would be working for, and he was really nice and really nice to me. And then I would find out that we'd been going the wrong direction on the job, and I'd be in a meeting and he'd be like, well, yeah, I don't know why we've been doing it this way. And I was like, oh, I thought you were a nice guy. And he was. But I don't want a nice guy. I want someone who's going to be kind to me, because you can tell someone hard things and be kind-hearted.
Yes.
And actually you're caring about them when you do that. And you're caring to the point that they, oh boy, I'm going to get into it here. They might end up not liking you forever. But you cared enough to tell them what they needed to hear. You did it in a way that was kind. That's on them if they don't like you.
I agree. I agree. It breaks my heart.
Yes, me too.
When that happens, right?
Too.
Because the intent is kindness and helping. And when that's not taken that way, it's not good for either party, right?
Yeah.
But you can live with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you said the right things, not necessarily the nice things.
Well, and let me just, you said this earlier, and so let me be honest about my own failures and faults. You say it breaks your heart. It breaks my heart how I've had to learn that and how I have to continue to learn that, because I'm not always kind. The reality is, you have to be intentional when you're going to talk with someone like that. And there have been times where I have reacted instead of responded.
Ooh.
And I can give a list of excuses as to why. I'm going on, I got personal stuff. We're all people. And as all I can do is learn from those things. And I have to pay the consequences. You talked about that earlier. Like, you tried to implement some things and you did it in a wrong way. And then there you were again. And they're like, we did this, it didn't work, but you have to pay the consequences when you lose that credibility. But the reality is, I believe that the only way to succeed is to continue to venture onward, to continue to, it's like, all right, I made this mistake. I communicated that wrong. And there are people that are not in our organization anymore because of my miscommunication or my reacting. I'm sorry about that. And I feel about that. And I've even talked with some of them, but they'll never be a part of our organization again. But it's because I didn't respond right. Now, what I will say is, having grown in seeing my own weaknesses and my own failings has helped me then have grace when other people have those failings as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So recently I have learned that I have a casual manner about me.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
Right. Less than polished, we'll say. And I don't suffer from empathy.
I don't suffer from empathy. I love that.
My wife is very empathetic.
Ah, that makes sense.
If somebody is crying in the room, she might be crying. She might not even know why, but she can feel it.
Oh,
right,
yes.
Right? I don't feel it, but it doesn't mean it's not important that I don't have to use empathy intentionally on purpose, because I had two instances in the last 6 months where I said something and I was paraphrasing and kind of trying to be funny and lighthearted.
Yeah.
And the two leaders I was talking to in both situations were like, please don't say it like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, they don't trust that I can maintain a professional manner here.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things I'm working on with my coach is the things that come out of my mouth.
Oh, come on.
Are important, and they can hurt people.
Words matter.
And they can build people up or they can tear people down.
Absolutely.
And I might not mean it as a tear down, But if I say it in a way that there is humor and lightheartedness for me, other people could hear that and go, that is horrible. Why would you say that way? And so I just am working on that so that I don't, screw it all up.
Well, that's really good. I mean, I really appreciate you saying that. That's something I've had to deal with. And I want to drill down on this because I think that that is a weakness that I've had to deal with in me, because I used to have this attitude, when I was younger. Man, I value experience so much now. When I was younger, I used to think, why do the guys with more experience get paid more than me? But now I understand because they're smarter than me. And the funny thing about that is the older you get, the more you realize you don't know, and the more that you realize that the people that are closer to death have even more experience than you. So it just gets worse. But to the point of what you were saying, I used to think when I was younger, and the empathy thing is funny because, I can turn it on or off, and I usually have it off. But
I don't have that switch.
Yeah. But what I would say is I used to say, well, I didn't mean it that way, so they misinterpreted it, so that was on them. And I mean, I got smacked in the face. It felt like a 2x4 one day. And I realized how arrogant that statement was. That's on you. You heard me. That's not how I meant it. You misinterpreted that. That's on you. And I would say, I think that is a very prideful response. And I can say that because it was my response. It's a very prideful response, and it's lazy, because it's like, I'm not going to work on the way that I communicate. You need to figure out how I communicate. That would be like me speaking another language and coming into your business and being like, you need to learn Farsi because that's what I speak. Look it up. It's a very rare language. But the point being, if I want you to understand what I'm trying to say and hear me when I say this, I need to learn how you communicate. And so it's like, in my language, this might be funny. In your language, it might be offensive.
Right.
I need to figure that out.
That's the whole premise of the book, The Platinum Rule. I have no idea who wrote it. Have you ever heard of the Platinum Rule? So do you know the Golden Rule? Tell me the Golden Rule.
Yeah. Do unto others as you would want done unto you.
Right. That's the Golden Rule.
Yeah.
The Platinum Rule is do unto others as they would like to have done unto them.
Ooh.
Right. So don't assume that you are the perfect filter for how information will be communicated.
Yeah.
It's thinking about the other person and how can what I say meet them where they are.
Yeah.
Not where I am.
Yeah. I think that is huge. And I think that the things that you're talking about are so good. Like I would love to meet your team because it sounds like you are talking as a leader should speak. I was just, leaders, it's a calling. Like it's something that you have to want to do. And, when you talked about being an owner, this is one of the things that I would say about ownership is if you want to be an owner, then you need to be okay with being the last person to get paid. You need to be okay with being the last person to leave. And like I talked earlier about how, I don't come in when everybody else comes in. But if something is going wrong, my plans are the first to be canceled.
Yes.
If, it's like, yeah, there are benefits to being an owner. I'm not gonna dance around that. There are. But you must work in a mindset of others first. That's what ownership is. And the crazy part is it's pretty intense because it's not just about your team and your employees. It's about your clients. It's about, the people that you work for, the people that, and if you're an owner, you're not a sales guy, so you don't have this list of clients. Every client is yours. And another thing about ownership is, this one was really painful for me to learn. Everyone's mistake in your organization is your mistake. Everyone's mistake. And you can't be like leaders do not say, well, man, he made that mistake. I'm really sorry that guy made that. No, that's not how you say it.
We made
We.
that mistake. I'm sorry that happened.
Exactly.
I will take full responsibility.
Well, and that is a key part right there. He said, we made that mistake, but then he said, and listen, this is why words matter so much. I will take full responsibility. So when you're a leader and you're in that position, you can say that we made a mistake, but people don't want to hear we will take full responsibility.
Right.
They want someone to be accountable, and an owner or a leader in that position has to take that individual responsibility, even for things that they didn't know, even for things that they maybe even, I can't tell you the amount of times that I have been training someone and they did exactly what I told them not to do. And I have been in the meeting and I'm like, we made that mistake. I take full responsibility for that. Now, I will guarantee you, now this is where I take a couple of days to respond because I wanted to respond, not react. I will guarantee you that I responded to that employee and was like, all right, this can't happen again because I don't want to be in that position again.
Right.
But it is a difficult thing to be an owner or a leader. It is not a bad thing, but you need to know, you need to go into it with your eyes wide open for sure. For sure.
Agreed.
So I have a question. We blew right past the first one. We've been going here for a while, but this is a question I never want to miss. And we've already covered so much. I so appreciate your honesty.
Oh, thank you.
That is why I hope that's why people listen. We really strive to have an honest and real conversation. So with that, I just want to ask you, what is a mistake that you've made? If you had to pick a mistake from the warehouse to the boardroom, what have you learned over the years? What is a mistake that you have learned from that you're willing to share with others that they might be able to learn from that? And the reason I say it that way is it's an opportunity for you to provide for them a real and honest feedback so that they might not repeat the same mistake that you and I have made.
Sure. Do you want me to set it up or just put it out there? This is
you can
the
do whatever
mistake?
you want. So go for it.
So I've talked about Mary, the previous owner who passed in August of 2022. She was excellent and a strong woman, and based on her personality, she wasn't going to die, right? She was going to win. She was going to fight it, and she did. And it looked like she was going to win until it didn't.
Yeah.
What that meant, and I don't say this with any level of disrespect, is I had zero training to be the CEO. Yeah. Right? There was no documentation. There was nothing because she was going to live. Right? We all thought she's going to live because she was just pushing through. She was in horrible pain, and she wasn't telling anybody she was in horrible pain. Right? She was just pushing through. So I became the CEO in the August of 2022, and my big mistake was I didn't ask for help.
Ooh.
Right? I thought I have this, right? Which is pride. I didn't want to admit that I had zero clue of what I was doing, right?
Sorry. I have the empathy off.
Yeah.
So
right. It's just I was struggling to the point where we had an employee who left, and part of that's my fault, right? That we had a couple employees leave, which is rare for us to have employees leave.
Yeah.
We had a couple employees leave, and one of them had the chutzpah to say, "You're not happy anymore. You used to be happy, right? You used to do good things, and now you just show up," right? Because I was in a state of not necessarily depression, but I was struggling big time. And I remember what Mary had said to me before she left. Well, she had said, if anything ever happens to me, get a coach, right? But I had this thing in my head that I didn't want a coach.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the CEO. I wanted to do this, but I realized I didn't have the right experience, the right training to do that job.
Yeah.
And so I got a coach, and it has made all the difference.
Yeah.
I have a clear vision of exactly what I need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to drive the business forward, We have established new strategic initiatives. We have redefined our vision and our goals. We've communicated it. We've involved the employees. Right?
Come on.
We've really brought things around. I'm engaging with the community with my own podcast. Right?
Yeah.
I'm doing the things a CEO should do now, and I didn't do them before just because I didn't know, and I was too stupid to say I need help. Right? I was too proud. I didn't want to admit that I didn't have it on my own.
You
right?
didn't tap into the secret. You didn't ask.
I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Right? I just needed, and the coach has been fantastic. He didn't come in and look at our books and go, "You're doing this and that." Right? We've just had conversations
Yeah.
similar to this one where he has gone, "Well, hey, when you do that, how do you think that goes for your business?" Right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And we have those conversations, and I go, "Oh, I need to do it this way. I need to change this. I need to change that. I need to engage here." Right?
Yeah.
I think one of the most important things a leader can do is engage.
Come on.
Engage with their community, engage with their employees, and engage with their business.
Yeah.
Right? So many people engage with employees, and they might engage with their community, but you have to be engaged in your business as well and know where your business is and lead that level of engagement. So my biggest mistake was not asking for help when I needed it.
Yeah.
And I struggled for like a year and a half,
Yeah.
just floundering, right?
Yeah.
To the point where I was at home having discussions with my wife going, do I really want to be here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
I love the company. I love those employees, but I just didn't know what I was doing, and I felt like I was letting everybody down.
I think that fear often leads to failure. And, we don't ask a lot of times because we're afraid.
Yeah.
Or we have a fear of, like you talk about a coach, and a lot of people can be like, well, he's going to come in, he's going to look at my books, and he's going to say I'm doing this, he's going to say I'm doing that. And it's like, you have no idea what's going to happen. And if you don't like the term coach, that's fine. A coach, the only thing that a coach is really is a mentor. And we all need mentors.
Agreed.
I mean, most all of the successes in my life have come from the opportunities of mentorship that I have had. And the reality is, if you can't afford a coach, and again, don't be pissed off that coaches charge money and that it's expensive, because let's just talk about what that is. Time is money. That is a portion of their life and their time that they are giving you. So think about that when you write a check for a mentor. The other thing would be, if you can't afford that, then seek out mentorship. There are people out there who are willing to share with you. Surround yourself. And here's how you find them. If there are people that you see and you're like, that's where I want to be, then that's who you go after for mentorship. That's who you try to surround yourself
Just
with.
ask.
Just ask. Exactly.
They might say no. That's
Right.
that's okay.
Right.
Ask again if you really mean it.
Exactly. And it's interesting that you say that. When I was very young, probably about 15, I asked someone who I really looked up to if they would mentor me, and they said no. And they were too busy, and they rightfully were. And you need to be aware of that. But I asked again, and they said okay, and they found someone to mentor me, not them, but someone who had a little bit more time than they did to mentor me. And this is the thing that struck me about that. I had to also deal with the fact that I couldn't get what I wanted, and I built my expectations around what I wanted it to look like. But it was one of the greatest things for me. And then I was mentored by that other guy for almost a decade.
Nice.
I mean, and mentorship and coaching, that's huge.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So, well, tell our listeners, where can they find you? And do you only work in the Lancaster area, or you work for people?
So we work for people really across the globe.
Okay. That's pretty big.
But
I'd be more impressed if you said you also had an office on the moon, but whatever.
yeah, so we only have one office, but we are highly concentrated in this region, right?
Okay.
Because paper is heavy. And to order a print job from me, if you are in California, the shipping alone can double the cost of the print job. So it might be best to find a printer locally, right? That sort of thing. But we do work up and down the East Coast. Our largest customer is based out of Chicago.
Okay.
But that's one of the ones that we are part of their manufacturing chain.
Okay.
So I don't have to ship the products to them. I make their products and ship them directly to their customers.
Gotcha.
Right. So we have a sales force. You can find us at the H&H.com or thinkhh.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with you if you are local, or we make a connection, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And if you're not local, he has absolutely no interest in connecting with you.
You know, it is... I've had 2 LinkedIn experiences. I used to have a LinkedIn account, and it was, I thought it's for business. I will accept anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
And what I had was a feed of junk.
Yeah.
So now I am just a lot more cautious about who I connect with. They either have to be local or I have to have sought them, right?
Are we a connection, you and me?
I believe we are.
Okay. So
If
I'm on his list.
If not, we will be soon.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
But the idea of, while folks in Great Britain are awesome, they're not my community here.
Right.
Right. They could be my online community, but I really rather engage with my in-person community and then engage with the online folks as we need.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So you can find him online on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Are you on any other social platforms?
I am not.
Okay.
I mean, our business is on Facebook. It's on Instagram.
Okay. Well, I so appreciate your time today. I
Thank you.
appreciate the knowledge that you've dropped, the insights that you've given. Honestly, you shared some really poignant things today about leadership and about community and about building a team, and also your journey of how you got where you are. If there's one thing that I would say to you in listening to this podcast, if you're in a job or a situation, ask the question. Ask the question.
Yes.
And don't put expectations around it. Just ask the question and see where it goes and then follow that. So thank you for stepping up to the line with us here today.
Oh, you're very welcome. I was glad to be here.
Good. It was a great conversation. Thanks.
Thank you.